Hey everybody, Duelist Oscar here, and I wanted to bring to you my topping dinosaur deck profile. So the reason why I think dinosaurs is worthy of being, one of my top decks is because of the fact that if you look at the meta right now, what deck can play through an extra deck lock right now? There's so many decks relying purely on the extra deck alone that you're going to lose game one because of the fact that your opponent is going to win some dice rolls and you're going to lose them. So I just decided to forego that and say, you know what, we're outing your extra deck lock because we don't need our extra deck. I didn't want a control deck because some of those matchups can just immediately be lost based off of what your opponent's playing. So in this case, my choice was dinosaurs, and using dinosaurs, I managed to top 4 two different YGO Omega tournaments. So let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So in our main deck, we are running the king himself, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This one card alone is worthy of making the deck a top contender, but his effect alone is something that can save your ass in so many different ways. Whether it's using it on your opponent's turn to be able to get more advantage and disrupting your opponent, or whether it's used on your turn to be able to close out those games, UCT is just such a great card that there's no reason why you shouldn't run more than one. I chose 2 because of the fact that I felt 3 was too many, but 1 was too little. But Quatless is perfect as 1. A lot of times, you might not be able to get access to your double evolution pill, but Quatless is able to do that for you. In those grindier matches where you've already banished a lot of your dinosaurs for either Misk for 4 or Misk for 1 or summoning UCT out on its own, or double evolution pill on itself. There's a lot of ways to banish your dinosaur monsters, and Quatless helps you reset the game, pick that tempo back up, and is just a fantastic negate on his own against specific matchups. Being able to bring him out with double evolution pill is just that much better. And we play one searchable kaiju on demand. Being a dinosaur, he's just so great to be able to out your opponent's board, whether you draw him or whether you search him. It's so nice to be able to have a deck that can play kaijus or a kaiju and not brick on them. So Doggeran at 1 is fantastic to be able to search with Oviraptor, or if you, for some reason, wanted to misk him out, you could. We play one Pankratops because all the other decks thought dinosaurs were just so good, why not run him? And because of that, now we're stuck at 1, but hey, at least he's searchable, and again, he's fantastic in specific board states. Being able to play a deck that can play him main deck is just fantastic. This wouldn't be dinos unless we played 3 Oviraptor in the main deck. The main reason for his existence is everything. Whether he's your starter by searching out other dinosaurs, whether he's an extender by popping babies on the field, or generated by Lost World, that's all entirely up to you and your imagination. Oviraptor can do everything. He can monster reborn dinosaurs in the graveyard. If you've used your Pank already once in the turn, why not bring it back and use it on your opponent's turn too? He's just such an incredible card that I'm glad that we're able to run him at 3. We'll never run him at less than 3 as long as he's available. And something else that's also true for is Miscellaneousaurus. He's been brought back to us from the grave to be able to be brought at 3 and played at 3. So, why not play him at 3? Being able to bait out your opponent's hand traps with any of the various dinosaurs that search or summon, is incredible. And being able to protect them with Miscellaneousaurus as well as being an extender in itself is awesome. Whether you're banishing for 1 for Archosaur, or whether you're banishing for 2 for any of the babies, or even banishing for 4 for either another level 4 extender or Oviraptor himself, he is such a good card to be able to have. And 1800 attack is nothing to sneeze at. We're running the 1 Giant Rex because we need something to be able to dump into the graveyard if we happen to be under Droll and Lockbird. Being able to put something in the grave that adds value to you, whether it's through a double evolution pill, a UCT hard summon, or whatever, or a Misk for 2. You know, he's such a great card to be able to have, and he's also another Earth monster as well, which boosts up your Earth count because you're playing 4 babies. We're playing 3 baby Ceratosaurus and 1 Petite Pteranodon. He's another baby. Let's just go with that. And all of these have a purpose. You can use your babies to be able to continue to extend, putting more babies on board to be able to add more monsters, to be able to pop with various effects that we have. Our Archosaurs, our True Kings, whatever you need, or our Oviraptors. Being able to have access to these, whether in the main hand or being able to search them out, is fantastic. Petite is also extremely good at being able to get you out that Pankratops on demand, and it's so sweet to see the look on your face, on your opponent's face, when you summon that out at the end of your turn. We are playing 2 Archosaurs. Now, this is a card that I was originally playing at 3, but over time, I've come to trim down to 2. And the particular reason why I thought it was good at 3 was because I wanted to normal summon it to be able to have something else that was a good normal summon in the deck. Over time, I've kind of weaned off of that since I want to be able to summon off of Misk exclusively. So, at 2, it's just right. When you have it at 1, the plays that are cut off just by drawing it is extremely disheartening. So having 2 and relying on the fact that you can get access to 1 with Misk, whether you draw it or not, is a heart sent. And moving away from our dinosaurs, we have our 1 True King Lithosagem. Lithosagem is at 1, and boy are we happy that it's there. If it happens to get bumped up to 2, we will be extremely excited, along with the possibility of it being at 3. Being able to pop any of the Earth dinosaurs in your hand or field is incredible, to be able to banish cards out of your opponent's extra deck if you happen to pop 2. And if you're already popping 2 and it's 2 baby dinosaurs, that is such a great feeling. We don't run the fire one just because of the fact that our fire count's relatively low. We are running more Earths, and thus we have more of a circumstance to be able to activate this card. Not only that, but being able to be at 2800 attack is awesome to beat over some of the problematic monsters that are in the game today. Continuing on with our 9 non-dinosaur package for our double evolution pill, we are playing 3 Ecclesia and our 1 Fleur-de-Lis. So our Fleur-de-Lis is awesome for its non-targeting effect negation. Ecclesia in itself being able to not be destroyed by extra deck monsters can sometimes catch your opponent off guard if they're not particularly paying attention. And it's just so nice to be able to have a 3000 attack monster on demand. Being able to boost yourself up as well as Ecclesia as well in certain circumstances is so good. It's not just an effect negation. It's not just an effect failure. It is so much more. And that is why we are playing this Dogmatica package. And the extra spice, we are playing our 3 Parallel Exceed. So why are we playing Parallel Exceed in our dinosaur deck? Well, it's very easy to get our level 1 on the board, and if you know where I'm going with this, you know that this is going to be such a free special summon. Not only that, but being able to put a second one on board that both become level 4, it's just incredible what you can do with this card. And the real reason why is because we're playing the one barrier statue of the Stormwinds. This card alone, turn 1, game 1, can be a complete blowout. It is incredible what your opponent sometimes is not prepared for in the slightest. Being able to summon out your Archosaur and one of these parallel exceeds is all you need in order to be able to get the special summon lockout. And if you happen to have even more than that, chances are you already have a double evolution pill off of the Arc. You might even have another monster on board from the Archosaur and the baby pop. And you also will probably have access to Ecclesia. With all of that, your board is incredible to end with. I've seen ending boards of double evolution pill bringing out a Quatless, a hard summoned. What is the card? A hard summon Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and so much more. Add Ecclesia onto it, you get a non-targeting removal, a opponent who cannot special summon. It's just crazy. And that's gonna wrap up the main monsters. Our last two are just 2 hand traps. We're running 2 Ghost Mourner and Winter Chill, and Moonlit Chill, I'm sorry. And the reason why we play this is for time. I believe that this card is better than Effect Failure. It targets just like Effect Failure does. It limits to only being done on the special summon, but it gives you the added benefit of doing burn damage to your opponent. Not only that, but this is both your turn and your opponent's turn, whereas Effect Failure is just your opponent's turn. This can be incredible for if you end up using it on something like a Eldritch the Golden Lord. If you happen to be able to hit that Golden Lord on the summon, sure, you might be negating an effect that's useless. But if you send that Golden Lord to the graveyard, boy, you're doing so much damage, especially if you send it with something like a UCT. It'd be crazy to be able to do just 3,500 damage in just a single send. Not only that, but you typically will be able to send even more cards from your UCT. So this card alone is fantastic, especially in Game 3, in real life events. I'm playing it in online tournaments just out of principle. Personally, moving forward for online tournaments, I'll probably go with something like an Effect Failure overall, just because of the fact that I can respond to effects activating when they activate, rather than having to hit them on the special summon. So that wraps up all of the monsters that we are running. We are going on to the spells. We are running the one Called by the Grave. It's so good to be able to hit your opponent's graveyard, and this card does so much. Being able to stop your opponent's hand traps is fantastic. So we don't play a lot of commonly played hand traps, so it doesn't really matter if we hit an Ash Blossom or an Effect Failure. We're gonna be just sitting pretty. We are running 2 double evolution pills. The double evolution pill is fantastic to draw. It's fantastic to search. We are running 2 Archosaurs, so why not run 2 targets? We have multiple targets for our double evolution pill itself. Boy, that can be a mouthful sometimes. And it's so good to be able to summon a Ultimate Conductor Tyranno or the Quatless should your matchup need it. So that's why we're running 2. And the Ultimate Searcher Fossil Dig. Whether you're getting another baby, whether you're getting a Misk or an Overraptor, this is such a good card to play. Being able to use multiple in a single turn is absurd. There is no reason not to run it at 3. And lastly, for our adding cards to hand, we are going to be playing the Pot of Extravagance. Now, the question is, do you want to draw 2? Chances are the answer is almost always yes. So we are playing the Pot of Extravagance. For the longest time, I didn't play a Pot of Extravagance DINO build, and ever since I've started, I've just fallen in love with it. I think that being able to force out a hand trap is incredible. Whether it's done here or whether it's done later, it's gonna happen. At the very least, here, you know that your opponent has to respond to it, letting all of your other plays go through. Again, Ash Blossom is once per turn, so go for it. We are playing for the field spells, 1 Diagram and 2 Lost Worlds. So we're playing the True King package, so why not play the Diagram? It's an easy search, it's a free pop of a baby. Lost World just generates so much, being able to protect you by chain blocking, being able to protect you past that from targeting. It's so good. It reduces your opponent's monsters' attack points, and it's so nice. Imagine this. Summon Pankratops with Lost World on the field. Your opponent's Dragoon loses 500 attack. Congrats, now you can just go for a free beat over. Your opponent's Dragoon's useless now, and you deal 100 points of damage, all with just those 2 cards. So it's incredible. I didn't want to run more than 2 just because of the fact that I can still see multiples in a single turn, and I'm not wanting to have that happen more often, especially compounded with the fact that we are playing the set rotation and the terraform. The terraforming adds that extra layer of field spell for us in case we do actually need it. Worst case scenario, we just use it as a bait. And our last card we are playing is 3 Infinite Impermanence. This is the one hand trap that I feel is incredible for the fact that it doesn't give your opponent access to triple tactical talents. Being able to deny your opponent cards is amazing. I want to be able to prevent my opponent from drawing as much as possible. And if I can not activate monster effects to do that, so be it. If I can still interrupt them at the same time, why not? I'm not going to say no to that. Overall, the more times I can leave my opponents with dead cards, the better. This does that in more than one way. Onto the extra deck. Our main deck is 46 cards. I enjoy it just because of the fact that we see the barrier statue less. The more times we see the barrier, the better. The closer you are to 40, the more times that's going to happen. So those extra cards give us added versatility and make sure we don't see the cards we don't want to as often. We're running our 2 tokens because I have found that it is not that difficult to be able to get 2 tokens on our opponent's side of the field. We are also playing our dinosaurs turned dragons, our 1 Lagia and our 2 Dolka. Like I said before, I was playing a non-extravagance build for the longest time, but ever since, I need more. So our second Dolka is going to be on its way, but for the meantime, this is a great package. Being able to have access to at least one of them in more circumstances than not is all you need. Your main deck is beyond what most decks can handle. So these extra added negates is just icing on the cake. We run 2 Tornado Dragons. Again, non-extravagance build user, seen the light. So our Tornado Dragons for 2 reasons. One is, in some matchups, you can just put 2 Tornado Dragons on board to be able to pop back row. Twice on your turn, twice on your opponent's, and that is an incredible feeling. Parallel Exceed just makes this so easily, as well as any other level 4 dinos you have, so why not do it? It also helps you out your own barrier statue. We are running for Link 1s our 2 Link Karibos. Link Karibo is able to put that Archosaur into the graveyard and immediately gives you access to more dinosaurs in the grave. Sometimes that's just all you need in order to get started. Not only that, but being a Cyberse, he is another type to use. And if you need extra help putting him in the graveyard, Secure Gardener can do that for you in just a second. It's super easy to turn on that double evolution pill with this package, and I've seen no reason not to run this. And last for our Link ones, we are playing Relinquished Anima. I feel like this is a very slept on card. Very unfortunate for my opponents who don't play around the zones. It's both a way to get your dinosaur off the field, and it's a way to bait out a hand trap or a monster negate. Guess what? If I can activate this and steal your monster, good for me. I now have a bigger monster, you have one less, and even if you negate it and put it in the graveyard, congrats. Now I have my spellcaster in the graveyard to resolve my double evolution pill. It's a win-win in my book. We are running for our Link 2 Reproducus. Reproducus is just a great generic card. it's not only a dinosaur, so it's protected from effects by miscellaneous Ceratosaurus, it's also a secure guardian 2.0. If you have that relinquish anima on board and you need to get it off to put it in the graveyard, all you need is one other monster, make Reproducus, and congrats, you now have relinquish anima in the grave. He's also a key part of the combo to be able to lock out your opponent from special summoning. Why wouldn't you do it? And lastly, the final piece de resistance for the special lock is our Simorgh Bird of Sovereignty. This is what brings out your Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. It is so great that he protects your barrier from targeting effects as well as himself. He's also pretty beefy at 2400 attack. And you know, it's just another type, another attribute to be able to eventually banish with double evolution pill. So overall, that's our extra deck at 15 cards, and I enjoyed it massively. This was such a good deck to pilot. I enjoyed it so much. The side deck was exclusively for the event, so I'm not showing that here, but overall it was effectively super poly with our Mud Dragon to be able to get rid of any problematic monsters like Dragoon. We had Cosmic Cyclone evenly matched and Dark Ruler no more for our side deck. Now, would I run that going forward? I don't know. It depends on what you're playing locally. You need to adjust your side deck for what you normally expect. So take that with a grain of salt. I enjoyed being able to break boards, remove back row, all with those simple side deck cards. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. One more time, Duelist Oscar with Team Slifer Red signing out.